Hello everyone. Welcome to Fluent English. I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you've been learning English for a week, a month, or even a few years, we're really glad you decided to spend some time with us. If you've ever felt like giving up on English because it's too difficult, too confusing, or just too slow, today's episode is especially for you.
Hey everyone, it's great to have you here. I think almost every English learner has had one of those moments where they thought, maybe English just isn't for me. If that's how you're feeling today, don't worry. You're definitely not alone.
That's so true. I remember learning another language myself, and there were days when I forgot simple words that I'd learned 100 times before. I started thinking, am I making any progress at all? Looking back now, I realize those frustrating days were actually part of getting better.
Exactly. Learning a language isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel amazing. Other days you'll mix up easy words or forget basic grammar. That's completely normal. The important thing isn't being perfect, it's refusing to stop.
And today, we're not just going to motivate you. We're also going to teach you practical English that you can use to talk about challenges, progress, confidence, and success. By the end of this episode, you'll know useful sentence patterns, everyday expressions, and ways to encourage yourself in English naturally.
Plus, we're going to share common mistakes learners make when they lose motivation, and we'll show you how to replace negative thinking with confident English expressions.
Before we jump in, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's the hardest part of learning English for you right now? Is it speaking, listening, grammar, vocabulary? We'd really like to know, because your answers help us create future lessons.
And if you enjoy learning English in a relaxed, friendly way, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to Fluent English, and share it with a friend who's learning English too. Every lesson is designed to help you sound more natural and feel more confident.
Remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about getting a little better every single day.
Absolutely. So grab your coffee, relax, and let's talk about why you should never give up on your English journey.
Let's begin with something really important. When people say they're giving up on English, they're usually talking about their feelings, not their ability. That's a huge difference. Today we'll learn how native speakers naturally talk about challenges, progress, and motivation. One simple sentence pattern is subject plus be verb plus feeling plus adjective. For example, I am feeling frustrated. She is feeling confident. They are feeling nervous. This structure is easy, useful, and perfect for everyday conversations.
Here are a few more examples you'll hear all the time. I'm getting better. I'm still learning. I'm making progress. I'm having a hard time. I'm not giving up. Notice how simple these sentences are. Native speakers don't always use complicated vocabulary. They often choose clear, direct expressions.
That's a great point. Sometimes learners think they need fancy words to sound fluent, but that's not true. Imagine two people. One says, I am experiencing temporary linguistic difficulties. The other says, I'm having trouble with English. Which one sounds more natural? Usually, the second one.
Exactly, simplicity is powerful. Let's look at another useful formula. Subject plus am or is or are plus verbing, for example. I'm improving. She's practicing. We're learning. They're trying. These sentences show actions happening now or over a period of time.
Here's a personal example. When I started learning another language, I didn't study for 5 hours every day. I simply practiced for 20 minutes. After a few months, I noticed something amazing. I could understand conversations that used to sound impossible. The improvement was slow, but it was real. That's exactly how English works.
I had a similar experience. At first, I couldn't understand movies without subtitles. Then I started watching just 10 minutes every evening. Little by little, I understood more. Not overnight, not in 1 week. But every month I became stronger.
That's why we often say, small progress is still progress. Repeat that with us. Small progress is still progress. One more time. Small progress is still progress.
Now let's practice together. Can you complete these sentences? Maybe you said, I'm getting better. I'm getting more confident. I'm getting faster. Great, how about this one? I'm learning to, you could say. I'm learning to speak more naturally. I'm learning to understand movies. I'm learning to think in English.
Excellent. Now let's talk about negative forms because they're just as important. The formula is simple. Subject plus am or is, or are plus not plus verbing, for example. I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. I'm not losing hope. We aren't stopping. These sentences are encouraging because they focus on determination instead of failure.
Compare these two ideas. I can't speak English. I'm not speaking English confidently yet. Did you notice that little word? Yet, that one word changes everything. The first sentence sounds final. The second sentence says improvement is coming. Native speakers use yet all the time to express hope.
That's one of my favorite words in English. Instead of saying, I don't understand English, try saying, I don't understand everything yet. Instead of, I can't speak fluently, say, I'm not fluent yet. Doesn't that sound much more positive?
Here's another useful expression. I'm working on it. Someone asks, is your English perfect? You can smile and say, no, but I'm working on it. It's short, friendly, and very natural.
Let's make this interactive. Say these sentences out loud. I'm improving every day. I'm not giving up. I'm learning step by step. I can do this. Speaking out loud helps your brain remember new language much better than silent reading.
Now it's your turn again. Can you make a sentence with the word yet? Try it before listening to our examples. Maybe you said, I can't understand fast English yet. I haven't visited America yet. I'm not confident enough yet. Those are all great examples.
Before we finish this section, here's a challenge. Write one positive English sentence about yourself in the comments. It could be, I'm improving. I'm practicing every day. I'm becoming more confident. Or create your own. We'd love to read it.
Let's quickly review what we learned. We practiced simple sentence structures like subject plus be verb plus adjective and subject plus be verb plus verbing. We learned encouraging expressions like I'm making progress, I'm working on it, and I'm not giving up. Most importantly, we discovered how one small word, yet, can completely change your mindset. And remember, every sentence you speak is another step toward becoming a confident English speaker. In the next section, we'll build on these ideas and learn how to talk naturally about goals, habits, and long-term progress.
Now that we've talked about staying motivated and using positive English, let's build on those ideas by learning how native speakers talk about goals, habits, and long-term progress. One of the biggest differences between successful learners and frustrated learners isn't talent, it's consistency. A simple sentence pattern you can use every day is subject plus verb plus every plus time expression, for example. I study every day. She practices every morning. They review vocabulary every weekend. These sentences describe habits, and habits are what help you improve over time.
That's such an important point. Native speakers often talk about habits because habits become part of everyday conversation. Here are a few natural examples. I read in English every night. We watch English videos after dinner. He listens to podcasts on his way to work. They practice speaking with friends every Saturday. Notice that none of these activities are difficult. They're small, realistic habits.
Exactly. Many learners believe they need 3 or 4 hours every day to become fluent. But here's the truth. If you practice just 20 or 30 minutes consistently, you'll often make better progress than someone who studies for 5 hours once a month. Consistency beats intensity.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever started learning English with lots of excitement, studied every day for 1 week, and then completely stopped? I know I have when learning other languages. If that's happened to you, don't feel bad. It happens to almost everyone.
That's why we use expressions like, I'm building a habit. I'm staying consistent. I'm improving little by little. These are very common motivational phrases in American English. They remind us that progress doesn't have to be fast to be meaningful.
Here's another useful structure. Subject plus keep plus verbing, for example. Keep practicing, keep reading, keep listening, keep trying. You'll hear this structure everywhere because it's simple, encouraging, and natural. Imagine your friend says, my pronunciation isn't very good. You could answer, keep practicing, you'll get there. That's much more supportive than saying, you need to study harder.
Absolutely. Let's look at a real-life conversation. Someone says, I still make grammar mistakes. A natural response could be, so do I just keep going? Or, that's completely normal. Keep practicing. Notice that the conversation feels friendly instead of critical.
Here's another one. My vocabulary is too small. I used to feel the same way, but I kept reading every day. See how we connect encouragement with a personal experience? That's something native speakers do all the time.
Speaking of personal experiences, when I was improving my listening skills, I couldn't understand fast conversations at all. Instead of giving up, I watched short English videos every morning while drinking coffee. At first, I understood maybe 20%. After a few months, I was understanding much more without even realizing it. The improvement happened because I stayed consistent.
My experience was similar with speaking. I used to translate every sentence in my head before saying it. That made conversations slow and stressful. Then I started speaking out loud for just 10 minutes every day, even when nobody was around. Little by little, I stopped translating so much and started thinking directly in English.
That's a great example because it shows that practice doesn't always require another person. You can practice while cooking. You can practice while driving. You can describe your room in English. You can talk about your plans for tomorrow. Every little bit helps.
Now let's compare formal and informal English. Imagine your teacher asks, "How is your English improving?" A more formal answer could be, "I'm making steady progress. I'm becoming more confident. My listening skills have improved." Those sound professional and polite.
But if you're talking with a friend, you'd probably say something like, "My English is getting better. I'm finally getting the hang of it. It's starting to make sense." Those expressions are much more casual and conversational.
One phrase Americans love is, "I'm getting the hang of it." It means you're beginning to understand something after practicing. For example, "I'm getting the hang of driving." "I'm getting the hang of English grammar." "I'm getting the hang of these phrasal verbs." Try saying that expression out loud.
Let's do a quick practice activity together. I'll start a sentence and you finish it. My English is, maybe you answered, getting stronger, improving every week, better than last month. Excellent, now another one. I keep, perhaps you said, studying every day, listening to English podcasts, trying even when it's difficult. Great job.
Here's one more challenge. Complete this sentence. "I'm proud of myself because..." There are so many possible answers. "I'm proud of myself because I didn't quit." "I'm proud of myself because I practiced today." "I'm proud of myself because I spoke English with someone." Every achievement matters, no matter how small.
Before we finish this section, here are 3 tips that can make a huge difference. First, focus on progress instead of perfection. Second, create a daily habit that's easy to keep. Third, celebrate small victories because they build confidence. These simple habits can completely change your English journey. And here's another question for you. What's one English habit you're going to start this week? Write your answer in the comments. Reading everyone's ideas can inspire other learners too.
Let's review the key ideas. Today we learned how to talk about habits using expressions like every day, every morning, and every week. We practiced encouraging phrases like keep practicing, keep going, and I'm getting the hang of it. We also compared formal and informal ways to describe progress, and we saw that real improvement comes from small, consistent actions. Keep using these expressions in your daily conversations, and they'll soon become a natural part of your English. In the next section, we'll explore even more practical ways to sound confident in everyday situations while making your English feel natural and effortless.
Let's take everything we've learned so far and put it into real-life situations. Knowing English grammar is helpful, but using English naturally in everyday conversations is what really builds confidence. The more you use the language, the more comfortable it starts to feel. One simple pattern we'll use is subject plus can plus base verb. For example, I can explain my ideas. You can ask questions. We can practice together. They can understand more than before. This structure is one of the most useful in everyday English because it helps you talk about your abilities with confidence.
And here's something interesting. Native speakers don't always sound confident because they know every word. They sound confident because they keep talking, even when they don't know everything. Imagine you're talking with someone and you forget a word. Instead of stopping the conversation, you can say, "I'm not sure how to say it. Let me think for a second. I don't know the exact word, but..." These phrases keep the conversation moving, and that's exactly what real communication is about.
That's such an important lesson. Many learners think they need perfect grammar before they speak, but that's not how language works. Children don't wait until they know every grammar rule before they start talking. They speak, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep improving. As English learners, we can do the same.
Let's imagine a real-life situation. You're meeting someone for the first time. Instead of worrying about making the perfect sentence, you can simply say, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm learning English. I'm happy to practice with you." Those simple sentences can start a wonderful conversation.
Here's another situation. Imagine you're traveling and you need help. You don't need complicated English. You could say, "Excuse me, could you help me? Where's the nearest train station? Could you say that again, please?" Simple English is powerful English.
Now let's talk about something many learners experience. Sometimes you'll understand 80% of a conversation but miss a few words. That's okay. Instead of pretending you understood everything, you can politely ask, "Could you repeat that? Could you speak a little more slowly? Sorry, I didn't catch the last part." Native speakers appreciate honesty much more than pretending.
Absolutely. And remember, asking someone to repeat something isn't a sign of weakness. Native speakers ask each other to repeat things all the time. Maybe the room is noisy. Maybe someone spoke too fast. Maybe they simply didn't hear clearly. It's completely normal.
Let's compare two different responses. Someone asks you a difficult question. Option 1, I don't understand. Option 2, I understand part of it. Could you explain it one more time? The second response keeps the conversation positive and shows you're trying. That's a much more natural way to communicate.
Another expression you'll hear often is, "I'm still working on it." Imagine someone says, "Wow, your English is really good." Instead of saying, "No, it's terrible," you can smile and answer, "Thanks. I'm still working on it." It's polite, humble, and very natural.
Speaking of compliments, many learners don't know how to respond naturally. If someone says, "Your pronunciation has improved," you can answer, "Thank you, I've been practicing," or "Thanks." That means a lot. Both responses sound warm and confident.
Let's practice a short conversation together. I'll start. Your English is getting much better.
Thank you, I've been practicing every day.
It really shows. Keep going.
I definitely will. I'm enjoying the process now. See how natural that conversation feels? There aren't any difficult words, but it sounds authentic.
Here's another example. My listening skills aren't perfect yet.
That's okay. Every podcast you listen to helps.
Sometimes I still miss a few words.
That's completely normal. Focus on understanding the main idea. That's exactly how supportive conversations sound between friends.
Here's a tip that can completely change your confidence. Stop comparing yourself to fluent speakers. Instead, compare yourself to the person you were last month. Can you understand more? Can you say more? Can you recognize more vocabulary? If the answer is yes, you're making progress.
That's one of the healthiest ways to measure success. Everyone learns at a different speed. Some people improve quickly in speaking. Others become excellent listeners first. There's no perfect timeline. The important thing is that you're moving forward.
Here are 3 practical tips to help you sound more natural. First, don't be afraid to use simple words. Clear communication is more important than impressive vocabulary. Second, speak a little every day, even if it's only for 5 minutes. Those small conversations build confidence over time. Third, listen carefully to native speakers and notice how they connect simple words together. You'll discover that everyday English is often much simpler than you imagined.
Let's do a quick speaking challenge. Say these sentences out loud. I can improve. I can communicate. I can keep learning. I'm becoming more confident. Great. Now change one sentence to make it personal. Maybe you said, I can order food in English. I can introduce myself confidently. I can understand English podcasts better now. Excellent work.
Here's another activity for you. Imagine you're encouraging a friend who's thinking about quitting English. What would you say? Maybe something like, "Don't give up. You've already made progress. Keep practicing every day." Now write your own encouraging sentence in the comments. Your words might inspire someone else who needs motivation today.
Before we move on, let's review today's structure. We practiced using subject plus can plus base verb to talk about ability and confidence. We learned natural expressions for asking people to repeat themselves, accepting compliments, and keeping conversations going. Most importantly, remember that confidence doesn't come from knowing every word. It comes from using the English you already know. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes. In the next section, we'll look at some of the most common mistakes English learners make and, more importantly, how to fix them naturally and confidently.
One thing I want you to remember is that every English learner makes mistakes. Seriously, every single one. I still make mistakes when I'm learning new languages, and so does.
The goal isn't to avoid mistakes forever. The goal is to learn from them and keep moving forward. Sometimes we learn the most from the sentences we get wrong. That's so true. Today we're going to look at 4 common mistakes that many English learners make. We'll compare the incorrect version with the natural one, explain why it sounds better, and give you plenty of chances to practice. Let's jump into the first mistake. Mistake 1, saying, I give up too quickly. Many learners become frustrated after making a few mistakes and immediately say, I give up. Of course, if you really want to quit something, that's fine. But very often, learners don't actually want to quit. They're just feeling discouraged. A better way to express yourself is, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm having a difficult day. I need a short break. Those sentences explain your feelings without suggesting that you've completely stopped learning.
Here's why this matters. I give up sounds final. It tells people you've decided to stop. But saying, I'm feeling frustrated, leaves room for improvement. It tells others that today is difficult, but tomorrow might be better. Language shapes our mindset. The words you choose can influence how you feel about your progress.
Let's practice instead of saying, I give up. Try saying, I'm frustrated, but I'm going to keep practicing. That small change makes a huge difference. Mistake 2, saying, my English is bad. This is something we hear all the time. My English is bad. Native speakers usually express this idea differently. They might say, I'm still improving. My English needs more practice. I'm working on my English. Those responses sound more natural and much more positive.
Here's the reason. When you say, my English is bad, you're giving yourself a permanent label. But when you say, I'm still improving, you're describing a process. Learning English isn't a fixed ability. It's a skill that grows with practice. Think about it. If you couldn't ride a bicycle on your first day, would you say, I'm terrible forever? Probably not. You'd simply keep practicing. English works exactly the same way.
Here's a quick challenge. Replace this sentence. My pronunciation is terrible. You could say, my pronunciation is getting better. Or, I'm practicing my pronunciation every day. Which version sounds more hopeful? Definitely the second one. Mistake 3, being afraid to ask for clarification. Many learners nod their heads even when they don't understand. Why? Because they're embarrassed. But guess what? Native speakers ask for clarification all the time. Instead of pretending you understood, try these expressions. Could you repeat that? Could you explain that another way? I didn't catch the last part. Could you slow down a little? These are polite, natural, and extremely useful.
Here's why pretending is a problem. Imagine someone gives you important directions. You smile and say, okay, but you actually didn't understand. Now you're even more confused. It's much better to spend 5 extra seconds asking for clarification than 5 extra minutes feeling lost. Asking questions shows confidence, not weakness.
Let's compare incorrect approach, smile, say nothing, feel confused, better approach, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? One simple question can save an entire conversation. Mistake 4. Comparing yourself to everyone else. This one isn't really a grammar mistake, but it affects your English more than you might think. Many learners watch someone speaking perfect English online and think, I'll never sound like that. But what you don't see are the hundreds or even thousands of hours of practice behind that confidence.
Instead of comparing yourself to someone else's Chapter 20, compare yourself to your own Chapter 1. Ask yourself, can I understand more than I did last month? Can I speak a little longer than before? Do I know more vocabulary now? If the answer is yes, you're succeeding. Progress is personal.
Here's something I always tell learners. Don't chase perfection. Chase consistency. 5 minutes of speaking today is better than 0 minutes because you're waiting to become perfect. Little by little, those 5 minutes become 10, then 20. Then an hour. That's how confidence grows.
Let's have a little fun. Imagine someone says, I made 3 grammar mistakes today. You could answer, only 3, sounds like you're practicing. Because if you're making mistakes, you're speaking. And if you're speaking, you're learning. Silence never improves your English. Using English does.
Before we finish this section, here's a practice challenge. Complete these sentences out loud. Instead of my English is bad, say I'm. Instead of I give up, say I'm. Instead of staying quiet when you're confused, say. Try answering before listening to our ideas. Maybe you said I'm improving every day. I'm taking a short break. Could you repeat that, please? Excellent. Those are the kinds of expressions confident English speakers use every day.
One final reminder before we move on. Mistakes aren't proof that you're failing. They're proof that you're learning. Every conversation teaches you something. Every new word makes you stronger. Every practice session brings you one step closer to fluency. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Be afraid of never trying. And before we continue, tell us in the comments, which mistake do you make most often? And which new expression are you going to start using today? We'd love to hear your answers.
That's the biggest lesson from this section. Mistakes are teachers, not enemies. Learn from them, laugh at them when you can, and keep speaking. Every confident English speaker you admire once made the same kinds of mistakes, so keep practicing. You really are getting better every single day.
It's time for one of our favorite parts of the podcast, practice. Remember, don't just listen to us. Speak out loud with us. Even if you're by yourself, saying the sentences aloud helps your brain remember them much better. Today, we're going to play a simple game called Choose the Better Sentence. I'll give you two options. Take a few seconds to decide which one sounds more natural. Then,
We'll explain the answer. Ready, let's go.
Situation 1. You've been learning English for 6 months and someone asks how it's going. Which sentence sounds better? Option A, my English is bad. Option B, I'm still improving every day. Take a moment to choose.
The better answer is option B. Why? Because it focuses on progress instead of failure. It sounds positive, realistic, and natural. Native speakers often describe learning as a journey, not a final result. If you want another variation, you could also say, my English is getting better. I'm making steady progress. I'm learning something new every day. All of those sound friendly and confident.
Situation 2. You're talking with someone, but they speak too quickly. Which sentence is better? Option A, I don't understand. Option B, could you speak a little more slowly, please? What's your answer?
Definitely option B. It's polite, respectful, and keeps the conversation going. Here are a few other natural choices. Could you repeat that? I didn't catch the last part. Would you mind saying that again? If you're speaking with a close friend, you can even say, whoa, that was fast. Can you say it one more time? That's casual and very natural in everyday American English.
Situation 3. Someone compliments your English. Which response sounds more natural? Option A, no, my English is terrible. Option B, thanks, I'm still working on it. Think about your choice.
The better answer is option B. Many learners reject compliments because they think they're being polite, but native speakers usually accept the compliment first. Simply saying, thank you, or thanks. I've been practicing, shows confidence and appreciation. You don't have to be perfect to accept a compliment.
Situation 4. You're having a difficult day with English. Which sentence would you choose? Option A, I quit. Option B, today is challenging, but I'll keep practicing. Go ahead and decide.
Once again, option B is the stronger choice. It honestly describes your feelings while reminding yourself that you're not stopping. Here are two more natural alternatives. I need a short break, then I'll continue. I'm feeling frustrated today, but tomorrow is another chance. That's exactly how motivated learners think.
Situation 5. You're introducing yourself to someone new. Which sounds more natural? Option A, my English isn't perfect. Option B, I'm learning English and I'm happy to practice. Take a second to answer.
Option B wins again. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, focus on what you are doing. That creates a positive first impression and invites conversation. Depending on the situation, you could also say, I'm always looking for opportunities to practice. I'm excited to improve my English. Those expressions sound warm, confident, and friendly.
Great job. Now let's make it a little more challenging. I'll give you a situation, but this time you create your own sentence. Imagine you're watching an English movie and you understand much more than you did last year. How would you describe your progress? Try saying your answer out loud. Maybe you said, I can understand much more now. My listening has improved a lot. I'm getting the hang of fast English. Fantastic. Now imagine your best friend wants to quit learning English. What would you say to encourage them? Maybe something like, don't give up. You've already come so far. Keep practicing a little every day. Those simple words can make a big difference.
Here's one final speaking challenge before we finish. Complete these sentences with your own ideas. I'm proud of myself because I want to improve. This week I'm going to. Don't worry about making perfect sentences. The goal is to communicate your ideas. The more you practice speaking, the more natural English will become. Try saying your answers twice. The second time, you'll probably feel more confident than the first. That's exactly how improvement happens.
We'd love for you to join today's challenge. Write one sentence about your English goal for this week in the comments. Maybe you want to learn 10 new words. Maybe you want to watch an English movie. Maybe you want to speak English for 10 minutes every day. Whatever your goal is, share it with us. You might inspire someone else to keep going.
Remember, real conversations aren't about being perfect. They're about connecting with people. Every time you speak, ask a question, or try a new expression, you're becoming a stronger English speaker. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and let's finish today's episode with a few final thoughts.
What an amazing conversation we've had today. If you've stayed with us until this point, you should be proud of yourself. Every minute you spend listening, practicing, and speaking English is an investment in your future. Remember, becoming fluent doesn't happen because you study for one day. It happens because you choose not to give up. Today wasn't just about learning English. It was about changing the way you think about your English journey.
Let's quickly review the three biggest ideas we covered today. First, we learned how to talk about progress using natural expressions like, I'm improving, I'm making progress, and I'm still working on it. Second, we learned how to build positive habits with phrases like keep practicing, keep going, and I'm getting the hang of it. Third, we practiced using confident, everyday English in real conversations, from asking people to repeat something to accepting compliments naturally and encouraging others to keep learning. Those are expressions you'll hear native speakers use every day.
And here's something I really hope you remember after today's episode. Don't wait until you feel confident before you speak English. Speak English first, and confidence will grow with every conversation. Every sentence you say teaches you something. Every mistake gives you experience. Every practice session makes the next one a little easier. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up.
Let me ask you one final question before we finish. Think back to the beginning of this episode. Has your mindset changed even a little? Do you feel more motivated to continue learning? If your answer is yes, that's wonderful. And if you're still feeling unsure, that's okay too. Just promise yourself one thing, don't quit today. Practice one more sentence. Learn one more word. Listen to one more podcast. Small actions create big results over time.
Before we say goodbye, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's one promise you're making to yourself about your English this week? Maybe it's practicing for 15 minutes every day. Maybe it's speaking English out loud without worrying about mistakes. Or maybe it's simply believing in yourself a little more than you did yesterday. We read your comments, and they're always inspiring, not just for us, but for learners all around the world. If today's episode encouraged you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with another English learner, and subscribe to Fluent English so you never miss a new lesson. Every week, we're here to help you build real confidence with practical, everyday English that you can actually use.
Remember, fluency isn't about speaking perfect English every single time. It's about communicating clearly, learning from your mistakes, and having the courage to keep going. Every fluent English speaker was once a beginner. The only difference is that they didn't stop, and neither should you. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We truly appreciate every one of you, and we can't wait to continue this journey together. Keep practicing. Keep believing in yourself. Keep speaking English every chance you get. We'll be right here cheering you on every step of the way. See you next time.